It's just gonna be another one of those days, guys. I'm just gonna be eating, watching YouTube videos. Uh, Maybe got some mining XP on the side, you know?
We are gonna be road tripping across Australia, bro! Let's go! Made it to Australia, baby! Australia, baby! Woo!
Where are you going?
We don't know.
You don't know where you're going?
No, we have no plan. We have no plan and no money.
Oh dear.
We're on a mission to travel to all 7 continents with no money. And in this episode, the goal is to raise money to rent a car for an epic Australian road trip. But first,
Hello, I've got a bit of a weird question. Could you maybe provide us with a free coffee?
I have to ask the supervisor because I'm not the boss.
Sure.
I'll start him a coffee.
Ah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Do you need a lift out of the airport in about half an hour?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Amazing. Let's go. Let's go. Wow. Bro, welcome to Australia. Such a great feeling about Australia, man. I still can't believe it that we're actually in Australia, man. The land down under. Bro, I've only had 1 hour of sleep and I'm wide awake. Salute. My guy. To Australia. To Australia and to us. That we made it all the way here, man. Fourth continent, man.
so far on the Free World Trip series, we have made it to these 4 continents.
In 1.5 months, we made it to our fourth continent without any money. All right. What's your name?
Emma, sorry.
Emma, nice to meet you. My
Emma,
name is
I'm Ruben.
Ben and Ruben. Excellent. Let's go then, girls.
I already love Australia. Me too, man.
Alright.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's alright, guys. It's quite alright.
So Emma just got us some food, got us some free coffee, and now she's bringing us into the center of Brisbane so we can find a hotel for tonight.
You're already our Australian mom. We got adopted.
Chapter 7 The Buried Life.
I can't believe I'm just currently driving through Australia. Like I'm just to you this is the most normal thing ever, but to me this is so crazy. Look at that Australian dude.
Do you think we'll see a snake in the next few weeks?
You might. Yeah, you might. There's a very large possibility. I used to live just 5 minutes from the city and I used to have to detour people around this hyphen that lived in the park across the road from me at least 5 times every season. Because the old shit would just sleep on the road. Straight across it.
Welcome to Australia.
Thank you very much, Emma. Much appreciated.
Good luck. Good luck.
I love your energy. It's great. We've both been to Europe, Asia, Africa before, but this is where the new continents start for us. So we're freaking excited.
But often in the world's most crowded streets, but often in a din of strife, there rises an unspeakable desire after the knowledge of our buried life.
Before we could go on our road trip, we first needed a place to sleep.
Okay, the game plan. Go to hostels and ask if we can stay there for free.
I don't really have anything to say.
We're gonna provide nothing.
The answer is no.
No worries.
Alright.
And so we had to raise the money for a bed for the night.
Ah, shit.
Here we go again.
We forgot our Tupperware, so we're going full on shameless mode.
We cannot sell them like this, bro. In the box.
And now we're selling ultimate cookies with 40% chocolate chips to people in order to raise it. Please buy a cookie so we can sleep somewhere tonight. We sell them.
We're such scammers.
We sell them for $2 a piece. Don't have cash? No worries. No worries.
I can't do this, bro. We cannot sell them like this. No cash? No worries.
Sorry. They're not like poison.
No, no worries.
These are edibles. That's amazing.
Thank you very
so
much.
Go get him, boy. Go get him.
Hello.
I have $3. I have $3. But that's no.
that'll do.
Probably bought that for $40.
No, way more, way more.
They were way more than $3.
4.5.
4.5 for 26. Let's do it.
Sounds like money.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Hello, dear friends. Lovely evening. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank
my
you.
God.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Let's get it.
Hey, let's get it.
We still have enough money left from Singapore, and that combined with the money that we just made, we have enough for a hostel tonight. We're both quite tired, so we're just gonna get a good night of sleep, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, here's the game plan for Australia. So, we want to rent our own car and go on the most epic road trip ever up and down the coast. So, today, you guessed it, we're selling cookies so we can rent a car tomorrow for the coming weeks. We're splitting up again because it's just twice as efficient. We need about 400 euros, so 200 euros each. I think it's doable, but we're gonna have to hustle a lot all day.
Regardless of our mood or energy levels, every single day during this trip, we'd wake up to a day full of things that needed to be done.
I'm currently on a mission to travel to every continent on Earth with no money. And okay, no worries.
And on today's to-do list, face hundreds of rejections.
Hello, can I ask you something? Sorry, man. Alright, no worries. Hey guys, can I ask you something? Hey man, can I ask you something? Nah? Hey man, can I ask you something? Hey man, can I ask you something? They don't like the camera. I made $5 in the last 2 hours, and I've been trying so bad. I hope Ruben has made a lot of money.
105, 125, 175, 190, and I think I have enough coins. So I made like 200 Australian dollars in 2 hours.
Damn, bro, he's carrying.
Great here. I mean,
What we learned is that it was key not to go to areas that are too busy in Australia. I was in less busy streets, and so people at least wanted to listen to my story, which drastically increased my sales.
amazing. Thank you. Wow, that's a lot of money very quickly. What? Are you sure?
Pim then left the crowded areas and started making good money as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's fine. Anything else? So I'm selling cookies on the street to people in order to.
Hash cookies?
Oh my god, why is everyone in Australia stoner?
That's weed-free cookies in town.
They look familiar though. It's right out of the pack.
Amazing. Are you sure? Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Trying to avoid sweets, so here's
Okay.
$10 and good luck with your
Ah, thank you so much, man. Okay, here's an update. So we made almost enough money today to rent a car tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we're gonna raise the rest. So right now we're taking a bus to the nearest forest and we're gonna sleep there for the night because it saves us quite a lot of money. And here's the bus. Hello, you have a bit of a weird question. We are traveling to every continent on Earth with no money. And right now we're going to a forest to sleep there. So is it okay if we hop in for this? Amazing, thank you, man.
Just be wary of the coconuts.
Of the?
Big snakes there.
Oh my god, no.
Are we actually just walking into the forest?
We have no clue where we're going.
Bro, I swear to God, if there's a snake now, we're heading more and more into the bush now.
Stupid fucking idea.
Yeah. Bro, where are we?
We're lost in the Australian wilderness.
Hey, this looks like a good area. Alright, should we just pitch up our tent somewhere here?
The things we did to save some money.
Alright. I love how much the places where we sleep differ on this trip. Like one night we're sleeping in an airport, another night we're sleeping with a local in Dubai, another night we're sleeping in the fanciest hotel in Dubai, another night we're sleeping in a park, another night we're sleeping in a hostel, like another night we're sleeping on a plane. Like the places differ so much. I wonder where we'll wake up tomorrow.
Me too, bro.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, just wanted to take a quick moment to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already yet. It would really help me out a lot. Also, if you're wondering where I am, I won't spoil too much yet, but what I will say is please save Thursday, the 8th of May in your calendars for a potential movie premiere of the last episode of this series. It's going to be insane. For now, you can follow me on my Instagram to get the latest updates. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already yet, and more information will follow. For now, back to the video.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. We had a good night of sleep here.
It's a nice way to wake up.
Yeah, in the middle of nature. And today is the big day. We're finally going on a road trip along the coast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Let's do it. What a lovely place to sleep.
Honestly, I really like it.
Yeah.
We should do this more often.
Yeah, we should.
If you get caught riding a bus with no fare,
Yeah.
they can charge you $200-300 each.
Okay.
It's called fare evasion.
Okay, no problem.
Alright.
Have a nice day.
We liften wel.
Om een kwartier komt er een bus.
Ja.
It was time to make the final push to earn the rest of the money we still needed.
Hey guys, can I ask you something? It's a quick question. Raising some money, no money. Traveling to fourth continent, every continent on earth, no money. From the Netherlands for a road trip. So my question to you is, would you like to buy a cookie?
I'll give you $10 just for
amazing.
Just for you being you, man.
Thank you
That's
so much.
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Tuck that in there.
That's amazing.
To
Thank you so much, man. Oh, that's amazing. Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
While I was chatting to someone else who came back, I just dropped this off. $20 at a Red Bull. So the question is, would you guys be interested in buying a cookie off me?
Yeah. Do I have any dollars in this?
No. No worries. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you, man.
And after a longer
That's
day
lit.
than expected, Tim went to go and rent the car.
I got the car, baby. Holy shit, I'm so excited.
See you soon, yes?
Yes, I see you soon, yes? Okay. Oh shit.
Is it that one?
This one.
Holy
Damn, they in style now.
Yeah, scratch it immediately. Fucking dumbass.
wants to kiss her.
I love you. Nice, bro.
This is a home. This is our car. This is so much. This is freedom, man. We won't have as much freedom as we will in the coming 2 weeks. I'm so fucking high. Holy shit. Let's go, bro.
We wanted to give our car a name, and there was only one option we could really go with. Named after one of the biggest icons of the trip, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Abdur Rahman.
Bro, come join. You have so much space. There's only one track we can play. Hey, my left pocket money. Holy
Right, I thought they were gonna play the Arabic music.
Let's go! Let's go! Yo, fuck, this is a house. Yeah, bro. This is a house. Look at how much space there is, guys. The next 2 weeks, we are gonna be road tripping across Australia, bro. Let's go! I can't wait.
I'm taking off, who knows where flights start. Skating solo, but I'll make this work. Just please don't take my white lighter. I need it for the ride back to my home, girl. I'm taking lefts, make no right.
Welcome to our crib, ladies and gents. This is how we'll be spending nights for the next couple of weeks. We actually just said, like, probably when we are 80 and we're on our deathbed, and if we could go to any moment in our life, this would probably be in the top 5, because we just know we have 2 of the most amazing weeks of our lives ahead of us.
I've been dreaming of doing this since I was like 15 years old, to do an Australian road trip, and we're actually doing it right
Oh
now.
yeah, buddy. Alright guys, we'll see you tomorrow for the most epic road trip of our lives.
We don't even have money for fuel.
I gotta take a number 2.
Spies. James Bond. Jason Bourne. Tom Cruise, desperately sprinting to chase down someone escaping a Scientology compound.
Stories about spies have been a pillar of international media for nearly a century and are usually the definition of media for adults.
They've got gadgets, guns, and girls.
Easy.
Sorry. You wouldn't want most children watching stories about geopolitical espionage that includes alcohol, assassinations, violent car chases, and worst of all, British men. But when we were young boys in the 2000s, a new addition to the spy genre began to emerge.
An era that burned fast and bright, only to basically vanish years later.
This was the time of the child spy. I gotta take these off.
I can't see shit in these things. From 2000 to about 2006, the world was graced with an explosion of TV shows, movies, and toys centering around the idea of children becoming secret agents. It was a booming multi-million-dollar industry that captured the imaginations of kids in the United States, but most importantly, these two boys.
Adorable. We ate this shit up when we were kids. Spy Kids, Agent Cody Banks, Spy Gear, Codename Kids Next Door, and much more. But lately we've been wondering, what happened here? Kids who are secret agents aren't like a real thing that inspired that concept. So we decided to go back and examine how spy media had gotten to that point and watch through all of the Spy Kids media from our childhood to see exactly what the hell was going on with these kids.
The Spy Kids era followed decades of spy media being popularized around the world. So there would be no Junie Cortez without a certain alcoholic, womanizing British murderer from the 20th century.
In the wake of World War II, tensions began to rise between two emerging global forces. The United States used the war to establish themselves as one, a nuclear superpower, and two, the leaders in big hats.
The Soviet Union was also on their way to building their own nuclear arsenal. With this newfound power came the rising tension in who would impose their ideology on the rest of the world against their will.
One was for freedom, cash money, John Deere tractors, and the other was bad and red.
Scary color.
Blue good, red bad.
But when both countries have the power to destroy the entire world with the push of a button, you have to get a little creative in how you fuck with each other. This birthed a new age of espionage and the idea of a modern spy.
And there's no better example of the modern spy than the most well-known and iconic, James Bond. For those who don't know, James Bond is sort of an old-ass Cody Banks. He was created by the author Ian Fleming a decade after World War II.
Before the war, Fleming had a pretty accomplished career. As a journalist, he reported for Reuters in Moscow for a trial on espionage, where he was also tasked to report back on the state of the Soviet Union.
Sounds like a spy and a journalist.
What is a spy really? Someone who spies on another country?
Yeah. With tensions rising across the globe headed for World War II, Great Britain began beefing up their naval intelligence, and Ian Fleming was appointed to the role of lieutenant in the special branch of the Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve. It was there that Fleming got most of his inspiration for the James Bond books. He even worked on an operation called GoldenEye. As the war is headed to a close, dude goes to Jamaica with his friend and falls in love with the place. Staying true to his British roots, he arrived on an island and thought, yeah, I think I'll live here now.
After the war, it was there in his Jamaican home, which he named GoldenEye, where he began writing books. Fleming already had an idea for the sort of books he'd write, as he confided in his colleague in the Naval Intelligence, Robert Harling, that he intended to write the spy story to end all spy stories. Then in 1953, the first Bond novel, Casino Royale, released to the public.
The books exploded in popularity in the UK and around the world. They inspired a CBS show that sucked, where James Bond was American and everyone forgot about it, a comic strip, but couldn't quite seem to get a movie made due to a bunch of business drama about owning the film rights to the books.
Drama about owning the rights to James Bond?
Different times, man. Different times. Finally, the production clears up, and they choose one of the Bond novels that will be a bit easier to produce due to its location and style. In 1962, the first Bond film starring Sean Connery, who is 32 in this movie. This is a 40-year-old man, releases by the name of Dr. No.
Dr. No is more of a detective film at its heart, but the movie does a pretty good job of establishing the world of Bond and the international network of spies. It also establishes Bond as a smooth-talking government employee who fucks anything that moves.
It was also, for some reason, one of John F. Kennedy's favorite movies.
Not sure why.
Don't really see a connection there. The movie also featured 2 white actors portraying Chinese people. But hey, it was the 60s. Oh, yep. Got it. Yeah, it was still bad in the 60s. I apologize for saying that. I am listening, and I am learning.
It's got the eccentric villain, a car chase, sex, gadgets, and guns. But overall, the movie that feels much more familiar to the spy media we know now is the sequel that followed.
From Russia with Love remains one of the best and most iconic spy films of all time, and is mostly where the aesthetics of spy media come from. It's got international travel, fancy suits, fun gadgets, double agents, and oh god, oh no, James Bond just saved a village and was gifted 2 women to have a threesome with.
Barbara said for you to decide. So decide. They're both yours.
They also screened the movie early for JFK the night before he flew to Dallas where he was assassinated.
What? What followed this film was decades of iterations on James Bond as a character, what type of missions he'd go on, what type of new gadgets he'd wield as technology progressed, and what actor would take his place.
We also don't really need to tell you that Bond inspired dozens, if not hundreds of films outside of the series throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
But what the fuck does this have to do with Spy Kids? Well, it's in the first word of the 2, dumbass. Even though Bond and spies were popular for decades, the late 90s saw what we like to call the second wave of America's spy obsession. This was kicked off by Bond yet again with Pierce Brosnan's first iteration of the character in GoldenEye.
It was the highest grossing Bond film in nearly 20 years and one of the top 10 movies of 1995. It was so popular that it inspired a hit video game adaptation 2 years later that changed first-person shooters forever.
1 year later, Tom Cruise sprints past it in the box office with the start of the mega hit franchise Mission Impossible. And from then on, it was Spy City, baby. Austin Powers in 1997 and 1999. September 2001, 9/11 creates rabid mass intrigue and military espionage in the Middle East for some odd reason. 2002, a sequel to Mission Impossible and the start of the Jason Bourne series.
But this new wave of spy media came around in an era that treated children completely differently than the 60s.
The 80s to the 2000s saw a boom in markets aimed specifically at children. From arcades to entire television channels, an increase in animated movies and TV, themed restaurants, fuck you Rainforest Cafe. The idea of creating spaces tailored to just children for profit had become a large portion of the entertainment and service industry.
So while adults were treated to Jason Bourne, Ethan Hunt, and Austin Powers, the kids needed something to watch as well. So while there was other media featuring kid spies, the first major addition to the genre, and perhaps the most famous, came in 2001.
Between driving the kids to school
Mommy's mimicking me! Mommy's mimicking me!
and putting them to bed,
Lights out. Good night.
no one would ever guess that Mom and Dad are the world's top secret agents. Now that they've been kidnapped, the only 2 people that can save them are their kids. Sometimes the biggest heroes come in small packages. Spy Kids.
Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids begins with the Cortez family, living in one of the most beautiful cliffside homes I've ever seen. Gregorio and Ingrid Cortez are former international spies who gave up a life of espionage to raise their children, Junie and Carmen. When Gregorio and Ingrid answer the call once again as spies for the first time as parents, they go missing, hoisting Junie and Carmen into the world of spies in an attempt to escape capture and save their parents. Now, I think sometimes when it comes to books, television, movies, or any media for children, you measure quality much different than the same media for adults. Something like a PBS show that helps kids learn their letters and numbers should not be held to the same standards for writing, cinematography, and acting as Severance, Better Call Saul, or The Wire. That's not to say that we shouldn't encourage and celebrate when children's media manages to do both, though. So with that being said, something like Spy Kids isn't beyond criticism, but when we say these movies are not great films, there's more to it than that.
Both Spy Kids 1 and 2 accomplished things you'd want out of a kids movie while also being mediocre movies themselves. Carmen and Junie have a pretty standard but relatable sibling rivalry.
You gonna hang there all day? Scaredy cat? Told you not to slow down. I can't help it. I'm slipping.
Carmen is older, more capable, and adventurous than Junie, who plays the role of the screw-up, black sheep younger brother of the family. Their parents, Gregario and Ingrid, have spent the last decade giving up their young and exciting life to parent 2 children, but are beginning to miss that life and feel like their identities have been swallowed by the role of mom and dad.
So, they retired, settled down, had a few kids, trading espionage for parenthood, and they were better off. The end.
No happily ever after?
Well, I said they were better off.
These very realistic family roles of the early 2000s suburban life gives the ridiculous setting of Spy Kids some real heart to it for a family watching.
This makes the somewhat silly involvement of flugels, thumbs, and child robot soldiers have a real emotional backbone. But all that stupid shit serves its own purpose in really playing with the imagination of kids watching. Spy Kids 2001 is weird. Like, way weirder than you'd expect it to be if you've never seen the movies. It's not just a story about kids who become spies to save their parents. It's also this existential nightmare about rescuing your parents from being turned into freak clayhead monster prisoners who'd then be paraded around on your favorite kids show as mascots.
I think he's going to be a bestseller.
It's like if you found out that your missing father was the vacuum on Teletubbies, or that your mom was like SpongeBob. But that weirdness made it really iconic for people our age who watched the movie. You don't really forget seeing a thumb person for the first time. You will always remember seeing a flugel.
Whether you like it or not.
No matter how hard you close your eyes.
This bizarre reality mixed with Junie and Carmen's gadgets, including EMP gumballs, jetpacks, submarines, microwaves that can materialize a full Happy Meal in seconds, and spy sunglasses mostly provided by their uncle.
According to the database, you're always traveling, and no one knows what you do for a living.
I think we all have uncles like that.
Makes this
Something I learned on this trip was that all Pim and I really needed to travel was time and the courage to go out there and give it a shot. If you really want it, you'll figure it out.
Oh my. Holy shit! Holy shit! That's a kangaroo, mate! Shit! There it goes. Holy shit! That's amazing. Let's go, bro.
My G.
We saw a
Fuck yeah.
kangaroo.
Only 2 hours in and we already spotted a kangaroo. Alright, let's spot some more wildlife. Koalas? Okay, I just saw something. I'm not sure if it was what I think it was. But we're gonna check.
You didn't see a koala, right?
Maybe. Don't get too hyped. Don't get too hyped. Wait, where was it?
Bro, imagine that we see a koala after
Just
like
5 minutes after the first
2
kangaroo.
minutes, bro. 2 minutes. Was it this tree? Holy God. Do you see that? Do you see that? Holy fuck, that's actually...
It is.
Oh no, let's go! Holy shit!
We're so lucky to see a koala. These animals are quite rare. Most people see them in conservation areas or shelters for koalas.
Only later did we find out how unique this truly was. Every local we talked to kept telling us stories like this one.
When was the last time you saw one in the wild? Yeah.
That's got to be 20 years ago.
Really?
It's a big rarity.
Yeah.
If you've had that experience, as I say, that's almost unheard of.
Wow. He's so brain dead. Like, are you thinking at all? I just looked it up and they're an endangered species and there's less than 60,000 left of them in the wild.
And we see 5 right here.
Yeah, there's just
5 of them.
a whole family here.
We haven't even left Brisbane for like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, already kangaroo, koala. The 2 I wanted to see the most. My G, let's
My
go, man.
Honestly, this is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Before going to sleep in our car, we spent that evening at a hostel, talking to some strangers and making some new friends, which ended up being a great decision.
Guys, we have good news. Good morning. It's time to get some petrol. And fate has it that at the hostel we started chatting to this lady from the Netherlands.
Hey guys.
Juliet, right?
Yeah, Juliet.
And she kindly offered to pay for our gasoline,
Yes,
which is
I will
amazing.
pump it totally full to the rich.
It's amazing. It's
So they
a
can go.
lot of money. A lot of money. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Dutch people are always coming in clutch on this trip.
I think people in the Netherlands get more kind when they leave the Netherlands, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Especially when the sun shines and it's not raining all the time. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're welcome.
Ah, there we go. Look at those numbers, baby.
Uh-oh.
We got the last piece in. Full tank. Let's go, baby. Go.
I know for sure that when we're on our deathbeds, we'll look back on these months as some of the most fulfilling months of our lives. Dead broke, having the time of our lives. This weird paradox made me question a lot of things. There was one thing I knew for sure though. Not having money made us feel happier than ever. And that is food for thought.
What good is money to you if you're going to die?
We have gathered a squad to come with us on this road trip. So we met these lovely girls at a hostel yesterday.
I'm Ray and I'm Canadian. I'm Olive. I'm from Tasmania. I'm Sage and I'm also Canadian.
Road trip, road trip, road trip, road trip.
This may be a controversial take, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm not a fan of murder. I said it. Sue me. Murder's a pretty bad thing. Or at least, I used to feel that way. Until I was forced to kill a man. It was not a crime of passion.
It's a Pokemon
It was
video.
not done in cold blood. It was done in self-defense. I had no choice.
The fuck?
I was
Oh my!
forced
It's on the
to take
spacebar. I'm
choice.
like, what is going on?
But the things I did to him, I will admit, were very inhumane. And Lord forgive me, I enjoyed it.
This is my fresh level 3 account and my goal is to make max cash starting completely from scratch. However, there is a big twist. I can only make money within the wilderness and I have to keep my entire net worth on me every time.
I wanted to do this challenge. I really wanted to do this challenge. I'm glad someone did it. I love Reese.
It's going to be insanely hard, but so much fun. I have a spicy early build I want to make, and for it I need to stay 10 HP. First I'm going to kick a rat for a looting bag. With average RNG I should get this way before getting a HP level. There's the looting bag, and the HP XP is looking good as well. My goal right now is to make 150k for a spicy idea, and I think the best option to start with is by picking up these steel plate legs. That's the beauty of the wilderness as well. I can always use this looting bag for ideas like this. That's a full inventory and a full looting bag. Now I've got some cash, I'm going to buy some wines and go to...
I'll let my stomach settle, not blow up myself.
In the middle of the lava maze, but I think it'd be worth it. They're almost 2.5 times more than a steel plate leg, so for sure worth coming here instead. I think I'm going to do 4 trips in total, and that should be enough for 150k. I wasn't joking, everything I make has to come with me every step of the way. Ooh, a level 60 is out my combat range, and I just got hit by a Black Knight, so I'm so thankful for that. Ooh, level 46. I saw his gear and I was like, yeah, I'm going to insta-log. I'm going to do the smart play and do the last inventory at steel plate legs, because that level 46 is definitely hopping around and I could just get one hit by him. That was a flawless start to the series, and what I've got planned is incredibly...
I need to make a level 30 and just start blasting people here.
That is well over that 100k mark. You may be asking why
is that what we do today?
This earlier, and the answer is this gold mine, the Wilderness Agility course where I need 52 agility to enter. Apparently at 20 agility, Brimhaven agility is now the best. This is some insane XP. I'm getting 27k an hour at level 25. Handing in these tickets should get me 40 agility. I've never done Brimhaven agility before this account. It's so quick for early levels, I do recommend. This is so satisfying, going from 48 agility to 52. I'm so excited to try out this moneymaker, but I'm worried about only being 10 HP. This is very risky, and the idea is that I'm still level 3, so hopefully no one will be able to hit me there. This is exactly why I made the 150k to put in this dispenser. I'm risking my entire bank on this plan, and if I die to a player or even a skeleton, I lose that 150k. That's the first lap complete, and when I click this dispenser, I get an average 9k per lap. This will scale up so quickly based on how many consecutive laps I've completed. I'm getting destroyed by these skeletons, but thankfully each lap I get one hard food to sustain from, and that should be enough. I'm 10 laps in and that's 53k in a looting bag, a third of my money back in 10 minutes, and this is just it's going to ramp up very quickly. I'm 15 laps in and from now it's scaled to 17.5k on average per lap. I should be completely fine. Yeah, that's a 2, I calculated correctly. So when I fail an obstacle, the damage taken is relative to my current HP. So with 10 HP the max is a 3. This can obviously stack with the skeletons that maxes a 4 downstairs and a 3 upstairs, so I've got to be a little bit careful, but most of the time I'm fine. That's my 30th lap, and look at this looting bag. I've doubled my 150k investment. This was such a good idea.
Video.
Now I'll get 26.5k on average per lap. Level 101, that is the lowest combat level I've seen here so far, and it's actually nowhere near being able to hit me. That's my 60th lap, and it's took me just less than an hour for 962k. I'm so paranoid right now, I can die from my bank at any point, but now I'm at the maximum it scales to. Each lap is a massive 35.8k. This was already insane money, but now it's on another level. The money is just too good to not carry on, and my goal is to make 10 mil in total, and that should be enough to make my special PKM build and afford its gear. I need to stay fully focused every time I'm logged in, and what helps is quick and healthy meals, and that's why I use today's video sponsor. Below 59 combat, plus here's the big part, at least 47 agility, 101 laps and wilderness tickets. Each one of these tickets now gives 230 XP when I hand them in. I'm going to hold on and wait until I leave though. That's an hour at the maximum cash scale, and I made a massive 2.7 mil. I'm now halfway to that big 10 mil goal. Level 73, that's the lowest level I've seen here. PKs like this are the exact reason why I started doing this at level 3. That was definitely the play. I would literally be dead right now if I was leveled up. 4 hours and 45 minutes of pure paranoia later, and I've made the 10 mil. That looting bag is looking beautiful. I'm going to hand in the tickets for a massive 73k XP drop for 63 agility, and I started from level 52. That's a massive progress. I could have not asked for a better start. The risk and plan have paid off massively. That's everything sold for that 10 mil cash, and first I'm going to buy a cannon and cannonballs, as this build that I'm going for is a 10 HP dark bower with 61 range and 59 mage at just 32 combat. Dwarf cannon complete, I can now use the cannon. That's 40 range so quickly. The idea behind me cannon is so I gain range levels with 0 hit points experience so I can stay 10 HP. And the reason I want to be 10 HP is so my combat level is as low as possible. 61 range. The last thing I need to do
He did the
is
dwarf
smash
multi-cannon
mage.
quest, right? Am I
I've
tripping?
now unlocked snare, and that's 9 more levels until fire blast. 59 mage. The build is ready, just 32 combat and tailor-made for a specific wilderness target I have. The gear setup looks so nice I could only just afford it all. Remember, I have to have my entire bank on me, so if I do die it's all gone, so I guess let's just not die. The target is these chin hunting bots. People think these very low combat and high hit point bots are unkillable. However, with this tailor-made 10 HP dark bower, I will be able to easily KO them. I have already found a bot, and without this devo it will be so hard to kill, but with it I just spec it and it's instantly dead. The chance of survival is just so low. 15 chins, that's not a lot. That's actually still gotta be some decent cash though, right? Yeah, 53k, and that's not a lot of chins. This guy's a lot higher combat level and 33 HP, but that's not gonna matter. He's just gonna get one hit like that. 57 chins. I've killed 3 people now, and I'm just making absolute bank. So in literally 5 minutes I made 321k. This is so good.
No, account ruined.
Even without this spec, and my first HP level. 33 chins, that's not a lot, and it's just based on when I find them, to be honest. It's a bit of luck. Oh my god, I was literally 1 tick away from losing my entire net worth. I'm so paranoid. Remember, I'm only 11 HP, so I could just get 1 hit by anything. Oh my god, they're everywhere. I need to be so careful. My Dark Wheel max hit of a spec is 44, and with the base hit is a 30, so I can literally one-hit any of these bots without the spec. I don't want to waste my spec, but I think I have to. That's 12 HP as well. Surely he dies. Oh, he can teleport. Oh, okay, that's the first bot that I've actually failed on. I got quite unlucky with the base hits, but I should have specced a lot earlier. Hello, we got two. I'm actually going to go for a double kill. I'll throw both of them. I can just one-hit this guy with a Debo like that. And then move to the next guy, but I'd rather spec, I guess.
Max cash, though.
49 chins, and I can easily double
start.
Absolutely bank can make it right now. Oh my god. There's no way. I didn't even see him. Where did that even come from? I just got sniped for my whole bank. I've literally just got Debo sniped. Oh, I'm so dumb. I completely forgot I was stood in multi and I just didn't look around. What am I doing? That is such a bad way to die. I was not joking. Every time I enter the wilderness, I have to bring my entire bank, so I've just lost everything there. I need to go back to steel plate legs. I actually only need 3 of these plate legs. I just needed some cash for wines and a web slashing weapon. I'm gonna do the same plan with steel plate bodies to make 150k and then go agility again. That's the first of the 4 plate body runs. I think you guys and even myself are starting to realise how tough this series is going to be. That took an hour and a half to rebuild the 150k. This time agility is so much scarier as I'm 32 combat. If I was this level the first time around, I'd have sure died. Thankfully I've already spent a lot of money on my stats, so I need to get 2.5 mil for a dark bow, tome and supplies to PK. Level 90, I'm literally 2 combat levels away from death. I carried on for 101 tickets, a cheeky 2 levels here and 2.8 mil in the bag. I'm so excited to get back into PK. Oh, nah. What is this guy doing here? What? Why is there a random level 58 here? That is the most unlucky timing I've ever had. I'm literally about to fucking...
No.
Oh my god, I'm so tilted. That goes to show I can die at any moment in the wilderness. I need to be on the ball 100% because I was just daydreaming a little bit thinking about the PK and I won't lie. This is going to take longer than last time. There's someone definitely picking up the steel plate bodies. Nah, I am so dead. I'm always in combat with these skeletons, so there's not really much I can do here. Honestly, I've only got myself to blame. I should not have died the first time. I should have been on the ball. 4 strength. There's the progress I need. I need to stay persistent, and it's all going to be worth it when I get back to that PKing stage. A level 39 has agility. That is my 4th death today. I am logging off for tonight. I'm even dying to monsters right now. This is not pretty. 13 HP, another combat level is not what I need. The rebuild is finally complete. I've lost so much time with these deaths. It isn't dead progress as I am getting agility levels, I guess. It does sound like I'm coping right now, and I probably am, but 61k agility XP an hour is very good. Them deaths were true wake-up calls. I'm going to play a lot more sneaky and careful this time. This guy is going to get hella stacked by my Debo. That is a terrible XP drop. He might survive that. Yeah, he's actually survived. He just got 1 hit to a basic attack. That was literally 4 more damage than his total HP for 80 chins. That is so much money. I'm so happy right now. 285k just like that. Being able to see the box traps out of render distance is so good for me. That's a level 80 though. He's got to be dead to that snipe. That is a massive XP drop. Only 10 chins. That is so unlucky, but you win some and you lose some. That is an overhit and a half. Oh my god, I have to log. I don't even care about the loot. That is not worth it. A level 3. There's no point even specking. He is 100% dead. 67 chins. I love this account build. I won't lie. It's so stressful, but so fun. Oh, the sniper has definitely failed, but I should be able to get a second spec back. This guy's going to be very hard to kill, though. This build was literally made for people out there. I've got my mage up not only to have snares to freeze, but also fire blast and tome for people like this with protection prayers, and it's working perfectly. He's Camping Brave Mage. What a beautiful Debo KO. That's exactly how I envisioned it going. And 47 chins. I'm having so much fun right now. Every 2 specs I'm going to teleport out and use LMS to regain my spec, as it's vital to confirm their kills. Plus I lose my skull up until I attack the next target. This is going so well, but the dragon arrows is quite expensive. Oh my god, I was literally 1 tick away from death there. Thankfully his weapon was a really short range. Oh, that is a big snipe. 2217. 82 chins. That is the most I've PK'd so far. That is beautiful. Some of these bots just don't eat unless it's the third time I've killed this one. And it's for 50 chins each time too. I'm farming so much. Oh, that is not enough to kill him for sure. But I will be able to get another spec back. 23. He's not praying mage yet, but I think he will soon, hopefully at least. There we go. He's praying mage at the perfect time. I am going to debo his head off right now. Beautiful KO. As I get 22 HP, I'm going to loot and log because that guy can hit me. 80 chins. I'm gone. Bye-bye. With these chins, that takes me over 1,000. That looks so clean. I need to make 9 mil for my next build, which is around 2.5k chins. I need to remember that literally one mess up and I'm dead. I can't get complacent now. It's going so well. I have been doing very well logging out. My reaction time is nice right now. I've seen so many PKs. I'm definitely getting hunted right now. I think he should be dead to that XP drop. 23 HP as well. Only 7 chins. I don't mind that. I've been making bank from this guy. He is 100% dead to that. That is so fun doing this, honestly. I'm having the time of my life. And that is 62 chins. I'm going to sell 100 chins so I can afford some more dragon arrows for a while. Oh my god, I actually got hit. No, he froze me as well. I'm actually dead. I'm going to freeze him just in case he's got melee. He only has an MSB. I can actually survive this because of my HP level. Oh my god, I actually survived. I actually survived. Kills like this guy is extremely free. I'm on edge so much right now because I've just got attacked. I'm so scared. 75 chins. What is that? That debo was the massive noodle. He could have died there very easily. Oh my god. Oh, I actually just ate that. I actually just ate that. There's no way. I've just survived that by eating. Oh my god, I fucking shot myself. There's loads of PKing accounts protecting the bots, and I've been dodging them so well. And he finally got a hit on me. There's no way I survived that though. 25 hit points, and that's 36 combat. I'm going to try and debo him out. Oh my god, that was the biggest noodle ever. Let's move on. Oh, that is a massive debo.
44 damage.
Max hit. You are not surviving that one, fella. For 95 chins as well. What a kill. 65 chins. I'm creeping up to that 2k mark so quickly. It's a low XP drop, but he should be still dead. There we go. For 55 chins. Yeah, I've got to log out as well with this Pures here. That is so unlucky. I just logged into a PKer and he's a really high level. That is so unlucky. A 3130 debo. That I'm depressed.
No.
I just lost everything again, and I was doing so well at dodge PKs, but just logging into one after logging out from one is just incredibly unlucky, but it happens in the wilderness. After that death, I may take the leap of faith at agility and make all I need for the next build stats and its gear, including a special staff. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. I'm on the road to 100k and episode 2 will be out next week. I've added up and I want to make 18 mil in total, 6 mil for 76 mage and the rest on gear, including this extremely strong 8 mil twin flame staff. Literally 20 minutes in and there's already PK. I can't log out because obviously I just got hit by the skeleton as well. A 13 max hit, that's not a lot. I'm pretty sure I've got the escape, I've got gap on him. That feels so good. I've actually survived. This is the worst timing. I'm literally about to get stacked out if he can hit this. I think I'm dead. Oh my god, that timing is horrible. This is such a struggle. Every death I have to spend like 2 hours getting steel plate bodies. What is this guy doing? Oh my god, he's got a debo. He's literally got me stuck here. I can't move across because if I do go east, then he'll just debo me out and one hit me. I've got no other choice but play a game of chicken and just hope he logs out before me. These skeletons will keep me in combat indefinitely. He has finally logged iron 3. I won the game of chicken. I've made 1.5 mil and I want to bank, but this does reset my streak and I have to pay 150k again, but I have an idea that I want to do. I've decided to get a bit more survivability and some PKing gear. Before I get back to agility, I'm going to hop all these worlds and see if there's any low levels I can kill. I've killed 3 people, made 600k in 15 minutes. It's actually not bad. Oh my god, that is a massive debo. That's literally his entire HP bar. Wait, 1.3 mil? 1.3 mil kill? That is so nice to get. It all worked out. I'm gonna sell all this loot for a Tome of Fire and Dragon Crossbow. Now we're starting agility again. The idea is that if I do die, I am not scored, so I keep the Dragon Crossbow, Debo, and Tome. Oh no, please don't catch, please don't catch. I am so dead. He's got Blitz. I guess I can try and Debo him back to stop his DPS. I'm gonna try and juke him on this ladder. That's the only thing I can really do. He hit a skeleton. He literally hit a skeleton, and that's the reason that I survived. That is so good. 70 agility. No matter how tough this place has been, the passive agility levels this early into the account is so big. Oh my god.
All the twin flame stuff, you're fucked.
Using the same staff that I'm trying to get. There's no way I'm surviving that. That staff legit destroyed me, and I had 7 mil on me as well. Agility is such good money, but the chance of dying is so high and there's nothing I can do about it. So now that I'm 70 agility, I think it's efficient to move on to another idea. The non-combat moneymaker I've decided to do is charging Ring of Wealths. With the agility course, I was always in combat with a skeleton, so my fate was never in my hands. However, with charging Ring of Wealths, I can log as long as I'm quick enough. It's so much better. I'm making around 1 mil GP now, which is half the agility money, but the chance of dying is so much lower, so I'm actually going to make more money over time because I just won't die, right? I'm going to commit to this method until I can make at least the Twin Flame staff, which is around 10.5 mil right now. It's gone up so much more. Oh my god, I am so slow. That guy was definitely not in my combat bracket. I could see him turning towards me. The profit each buy is going past 500k. It's looking so nice right now. Oh, I have no clue if they're in my combat bracket, but I'm not sticking around to find out. This grind feels so free in the fact that I can log at any moment. Look at that green hashtag. I've been grinding so much. The final run for the staff, and this is the cheapest wolves I've bought. Beautiful. That guy was running straight at me. I've almost just lost what I've spent the last 9 hours working towards. 11.4 mil. Look at that cash tag. I've now got the key to the next build, the Twin Flame staff.
10 mil?
So broken. To make the rest of the money for the build, I'm going to try out agility again, but if I do die, at least I keep my staff, tome, and dark bow, so it isn't really a problem. The agility dream lasted 27 minutes. Let's move back to Wells. I've sold my Debo and Tome for that starter cash. I won't lie, I've been having a tough time at the start of this series. I did not expect to die anywhere close to 8 times. The main reason for this is because it has to be non-combat money makers for the build, but all this risk and pain will be worth it once I PK with the staff. Nah, there's no way I've just been caught. I'm so fucking stupid.
Did he gap him? He just gapped him.
Oh my god, this guy is terrible. This guy is terrible. Oh my god. Even with all that misclicking, I could have easily died to that one bolt. I am so happy to be alive right now. I've got 6.8 mil, so I think I need one more run, and I'm going to be laser focused. I almost fumbled the bag there. Oh, I am ready. I am not getting caught. I made all the money I need to build the perfect Twin Flames Teleblock Baby Pure. This is going to be so good. I bought a Smokestaff and 4.7 million Splasher Runes to get 76 Mage, when I can Forgotten Brute at 85 for the big spell, Teleblock. Waterfall quest done for 30 attacks, so I can now wear the Smokestaff to save Air Runes and Fire Runes. 75 Mage. Fire Wave is actually the highest spell I can use the Twin Flame Staff with. 76 Mage at just 27 HP with only 44 combat. What a build. It will not disappoint you, I promise. I can only just afford this gear. Literally 22 GP left. What a roller coaster of our first episode. I'm so excited to PK with this build. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.
Might go to sleep, y'all. Just been sleeping really bad for the past few days. Probably gonna play a little bit off stream, but it's like haven't been feeling it.
So every now and again, I see some cyclically viral tweets, or I guess posts, about the 1998 movie Rush Hour, along with its sequel. We don't really talk about the third one.
You down with that, Snoopy? That's dope, ain't it?
But what I find interesting about these discussions is how the admittedly racist jokes littered throughout the films are often considered the best part. It's especially bewildering because this take pops up again and again in the angry cesspool that is Twitter. Even as these movies written by white guys perpetuate every stereotype imaginable, to the point it necessitates a disclaimer about how it was a different time before being aired on TV, so many Black and Asian Americans, including myself, still look back at the films fondly.
It was an instant classic in Black circles because Jackie Chan is a legend, and because at the time Chris Tucker was looking to be like the next Eddie Murphy. But yeah, so like it was an immediate, really solid hood classic is what we might call it. Now, I'm always fearful of watching movies I enjoyed in the 90s for like how X, Y, and Z things translate in 2023. So like I hold any and all criticism for insert whatever problematic thing here is in the movie, but overall, in the moment, it was a mega hit, at least from where I was.
Rush Hour was a buddy cop film, widely remembered for being Jackie Chan's breakthrough into Hollywood and a big part of Chris Tucker's ascent as an A-list leading man. It spawned a franchise spanning 3 movies grossing over $800 million in the box office, and also a canceled TV show nobody talks about.
This is unacceptable. You speak English?
Not to mention, it's the reason Rotten Tomatoes exists. Its founder had created a database of reviews of Jackie Chan's Hong Kong films, and in anticipation of Rush Hour, he coded the website 2 weeks before its planned release. All this to say, the Rush Hour franchise was a big deal. Plus, it was one of very few Hollywood movies to star 2 non-white leads of differing races, and I think it tapped into something unspoken about the dynamic between Black and Asian American communities and how they interact, whether it meant to or not. In this video, I want to dig deeper in regards to how this dynamic has been depicted in mainstream media, and Rush Hour in particular. Also, while I'll do my best to be nuanced and considerate, I can only perceive things from my own experience, so I can't speak for all Asian people, and I definitely can't speak for Black people on this topic. It seems the most pervasive ongoing narrative is that there's been nothing but contention between these communities in America. And while that's definitely not entirely wrong, I think Rush Hour accidentally offered a different glimpse of this relationship that hasn't really been reflected much elsewhere. Like I said, Rush Hour stars the unlikely duo of Jackie Chan as Chief Inspector Lee and Chris Tucker as Detective James Carter. On the surface, it's a pretty straightforward buddy cop film, with decent action sequences, funny quips, and plenty of dramatic explosions. When I first watched it as a kid, I didn't understand all the humor, but I found it incredibly funny and quotable nonetheless. My second grade teacher can attest to this. That being said, with rumors of a Rush Hour 4, I'm cautiously intrigued about how they'd even make it work in the 2020s, because
I've been looking for your sweet and sour chicken ass.
Chinese food, no soul food here.
You must know my good friend Pedro Morales Gonzalez Marato Monazo Modestos. Do you speak any English?
There was a lot of this. And then Jackie calls room service, "Can I have some fried chicken, please?" Like, and
so that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. See, that's so low hanging. White people think the difference is that shallow, because I feel like Chris Tucker had to do some riffing, but they probably had to feed Jackie Chan his stuff.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
They were feeding him stuff he didn't even know what he was saying half the time. Like when he said the N-word in the first one, I don't think he knew.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh god. Oh, now I gotta go back and watch to see how badly it survived.
I really appreciate FD coming through to discuss the film with me. He's a great video essayist with a compassionate and nuanced approach. So you'll see him crop up here and there throughout the video, giving for sponsoring. Now back to the video. Before Rush Hour, Jackie Chan was already an international star and the highest grossing actor in Asia and Europe due to his Hong Kong films like Drunken Master, Police Story, and Rumble in the Bronx. He choreographed a unique form of stunts and fight sequences that were at times both hilarious and breathtaking. Drawing from Charlie Chaplin as much as he did Bruce Lee, the chaotic fights usually involved a quirk, like the staggering movements of Drunken Master and the use of regular household items as weapons. He made a name for himself by meticulously choreographing scenes until they were perfect, going through hours and hours of film to get the smallest details just right.
For one shot, more than 120 tick. When you see it in 2 minutes or 1 second, you, oh, Jackie, good. It's not good. You can do it. Except, do you have the patience or not?
Yet, he struggled to gain a footing in the North American market. In Rush Hour, the director even deliberately reused gags from Jackie's previous movies, believing most American audiences weren't familiar with them. But after Rumble in the Bronx was released in the US in 1996, it gradually attained cult status and fell in the hands of now disgraced director Brett Ratner. You can look into why he's so disgraced if you want, but otherwise, let's just all agree that the guy's a piece of shit and move on. After watching Rumble in the Bronx, Ratner wanted to make a buddy cop movie with Jackie as a co-lead, not just a sidekick. This was especially significant because up until this point, Asian actors, domestic or foreign, were historically pushed to the side in favor of white actors. Not to mention the many occasions when Asian roles were simply given to white actors putting on yellowface. For Jackie, his motivations weren't purely financial, although it definitely didn't hurt. In a Herald Times interview, he said, "Don't forget, it's not for the money, it's for the face. You know Chinese, always face." What he's referring to is saving face, because despite his years of success around the globe, he still wanted to make a name in Hollywood. And due to this, he was willing to make concessions regarding his work process and filmmaking sensibilities. Later, he would admit that he's not the biggest fan of the Rush Hour films, simply because he doesn't really get the humor.
On the set, I don't understand. This speaks the English so fast. I just, okay, let Jackie say that. I said, what? Then after I say it, everybody laughing. I still don't understand what it means. I like the one with the horses. What's that mean? Why he teach me?
While he maintained his rigorous work ethic, he entrusted Ratner's expertise in portraying him favorably to an American audience. In this case, it was through a buddy cop film with Chris Tucker. At the time, Tucker was an ascending star in Hollywood, with memorable stand-up performances on Def Jam Comedy, as well as roles in Friday, The Fifth Element, and Jackie Brown. Rush Hour wouldn't necessarily be his big break, but it would solidify his status as a bankable leading actor in big-budget films.
After I did Money Talks with him, I called him up and I said, "Chris, I want to do a movie with Jackie Chan. I have an idea to put you and him together." He goes, "I love Jackie Chan. I'll do the movie, no problem." What I told him is, I said, the script isn't good, but I know what to do with it. I know if I put you two guys in a typical American buddy picture, it's going to work.
Buddy films have pretty much always been a staple in Hollywood, often featuring opposing black and white co-leads. These films didn't always explicitly focus on race, but they inherently played off these experiential differences. An LA Times article describes these on-screen interactions, saying, "The key to buddy movies is chemistry that derives from opposites attract. It's why so many modern-day buddy films pair up black and white actors. The stark contrast in racial style gives the movie an extra kick. But what made Rush Hour stand out was that it starred two differing minority leads, something we rarely see."
You don't have to be Tom Cruise. You don't have to be Tom Hanks to have a movie that performs. You don't need to have a white Anglo-Saxon all-American star to have a hit movie.
Knowing all of this, Rush Hour wasn't really trying to represent realistic people or defy stereotypes. It purposefully invited the audience to pigeonhole the two leads into racial tropes. In the series, Lee is a respected detective sent to America to find the kidnapped daughter of a Chinese diplomat. Fearing an international incident, the FBI pawned him off to the LAPD, who assigns Detective James Carter to keep Lee away from the case.
Yeah, I understand you want me to babysit somebody, but I don't do that. I came down here for the big assignment.
When the characters meet, there's immediately a clash of personalities and cultures.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Lee serves as a straight man to Carter's eccentricities, but their dynamics play into real-life stereotypes regarding their ethnicities. Lee is emblematic of the inscrutable, stoic Asian and lost foreigner. Meanwhile, Carter's slick-talking, street-savvy characterization reflects what Ratner describes as hip-hop culture. The juxtaposition between the two is made clear through obvious social and cultural gaps.
Ever touch a black man's radio, boy? You can do that in Canada, but you will get your ass killed out here, man.
For all of today's discussions and outrage about proper representation, 25 some years ago, they just had an Asian guy and a black guy playing to all the stereotypes you could think of and called it a day. The franchise seemed to take any chance it could to make a racist joke.
No wonder you mad. Sorry, man. Oh, y'all look alike.
Usually at the expense of Lee, and usually coming from Carter. And it may come as a shock to those who cry about modern woke culture, but yes, the racial humor did anger many Asian Americans at the time too. Many saw it as yet another example of Asians being othered and mocked in media. A Washington Post article chronicles the many differing sentiments from Asian American moviegoers, including Juju Lin, executive director of Chicago's Asian American Institute, who said, "I walked away feeling entertained on one hand, but also having a knot in my stomach. It is a shame that Hollywood cannot stay away from the cheap racial humor. It would still be entertaining without doing that sort of thing, without perpetuating the stereotypes." But the same article notes how some Asian Americans didn't see much issue with the portrayals, and even viewed it as progress. Nancy Tom, founder of the Center for Asian Arts and Media at Columbia College, and also the mother of one of the actresses in the Joy Luck Club, said, "They each were a stereotype, but it was such a light comedy way that I did not find it offensive at all. But what we need is more exposure in other areas, even if it's just a fourth of an inch. Blacks have these types of movies, but they also have movies like Soul Food and Love Jones. We have not had anything since the Joy Luck Club." These few and far between depictions continue to inform the general public's perceptions, and many Asian Americans yearn for them to be more than just stereotypes of their race. And side note, this especially goes for how women are depicted throughout the franchise.
I don't even want to say.
All of the films fall in line with action movie tropes of damsels in distress, femme fatales, and eye candy. This wouldn't be so egregious if it wasn't for the gross way the franchise views almost every woman in an excessively objectifying way, especially as it fetishizes Asian women. These parts are honestly pretty uncomfortable to watch now, but I guess it makes sense considering Ratner turned out to be a scumbag. So I get why some people weren't happy with the humor in Rush Hour. And no matter how I feel or how some other Asian individual feels about it, it won't be reflective of how everyone thinks. We all have our own opinions, and these huge groups of people aren't a monolith. But as one of the young people that watched these movies, I never felt the jokes were malicious, no matter how deep it got.
You back to Africa.
Oh, you will? Yeah. Come on, let me see that.
Because out of context, a clip like that seems pretty indefensible. But in the context of the film, it's friends clapping back at each other.
Don't be messing with me, Lee. I will slap you so hard you end up in the Ming Dynasty.
Again, I realize Rush Hour was written by a bunch of white guys, so it's easy for them to write these characters being friendly and buddy-buddy despite the things they say. But the dynamic is realistic in how male friends tend to talk to each other. Regarding this kind of bond, George Gallo, story writer for Bad Boys, said, "Men in general forgive verbal abuse a lot easier, maybe because we attack each other in a very focused way. I could say some pretty horrible things to a guy and then 20 minutes later go off and have a beer together. And if you ever been around the bros, this kind of banter is normal."
The way our masculinity is set up here in America, in the West, you don't just get to say, "I love you, I appreciate your companionship, you're my friend." You have to talk shit and wrap that in negativity and understand that that's what that means, right? But that happens with trust. When you're friends with someone and when you all share community and share problems and share perspective, then I can give you the grace and trust that
could have been Armor Seed.
You just said to me did not come from a place of harm. And across race, it's possible. I wouldn't have participated much in that, but I don't begrudge, people that have that, wavelength. And it shows when you know how to engage in that type of humor with a level of expertise.
At the root of their friendship is their own relationship to masculinity. They chase girls together, risk their lives together, and even relate in the fact that both of their fathers were killed while on duty. And because of these factors, there's an understanding that deep down, they care for each other. A Washington Post article notes, "Research dating back to the 1990s suggests that for boys, underhanded remarks are a sign of trust, acceptance, and belonging, a rule that does not generally apply to girls."
And so, yes, this movie does kind of speak to the bonding nature of patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Of how patriarchy has ordained for men and boys ways in which to create intimate connections with each other. And it's mostly through toxic and or destructive behavior. But they're both involved with this, like, they both have a task to do something to accomplish something. So they have a goal. They work together. They build camaraderie. They build trust in, working through each other's strengths and weaknesses and relying on each other. Like, there's value to that, and that's a thing that we need to be critical of still, but also the idea of creating found family and brotherhood and talking through pain, talking through loss with other men.
Maybe you could consider these microaggressions or just straight up aggressions. Maybe it's emblematic of toxic masculinity that men and boys feel that they have to tease and tear each other down to form friendships. But what it boils down to on a real world level is this is how many men are able to show solidarity and unity. Of course, there's a line that could be crossed, and I really can't tell you where that line is since it's different for everyone. For me, and a lot of people who still remember the Rush Hour franchise fondly, I didn't get the feeling these jokes were mean-spirited for the most part. If anything, some of the jokes are just so over the top and ridiculous, it's tough to even think about them that seriously. I think at its core, that's what fans of the franchise gravitate to. This rough around the edges friendship where two guys feel comfortable enough to mercilessly say the worst things imaginable to each other. Because at the end of the day, they know they have each other's back. I can't say for sure if it's healthy, but it's definitely a dynamic a lot of men can attest translates to a solid and meaningful bond. However, this friendship between Lee and Carter occurs in spite of what we know about the perceived relationship between black and Asian people in the real world. Rush Hour came out during a particularly divisive time in America, so I think it's worth understanding the context. The 90s saw the bubbling of racial tensions in the US. While most of us probably remember this being solely related to police brutality and disparities in the justice system, it was also a time where tensions between Asian and black communities was at its highest. And this real-world tension indirectly informed audiences about what they should expect with a black and Asian pairing on screen. You can sense some of this hostility with Carter as he initially treats Lee as a nuisance and verbalizes xenophobic lines you'd imagine your ignorant uncle might say.
First I get a bullshit assignment, now Mr. Rice-A-Roni don't even speak American.
It mirrors the rising animosity in black communities regarding the increase of Asian immigrants in their neighborhoods. In the mid-1960s, laws barring undesirable immigrants were lifted and waves of Asians entered the US. And having limited means meant they moved into lower-income black neighborhoods. There they set up businesses among their new neighbors to what was initially a mostly harmonious relationship. But as Asian Americans quickly climbed the social ladder and became synonymous with the model minority label, resentment grew regarding their roles in these communities. Some Asian Americans resisted the model minority characterization, but many embraced the moniker as a compliment. Considering the history of negative stereotypes of yellow peril that existed throughout the West characterizing East and Southeast Asians as, quote, filthy yellow hordes, it's understandable they take a liking to a more favorable label. The same goes for the almost asexual depiction of many Asian men in media, as it contrasted the previous stereotype of Asian men being sexual deviants. Jackie Chan has even joked about this phenomenon, as he's been continually typecast as an action star devoid of any romantic appeal.
Slow motion, the bitch hugging with the girl, kissing, of good. No, nobody hire me.
All this to say that these stereotypes seem to ebb and flow as Asian Americans were considered dirty and morally depraved foreigners one day and a model minority the next, conveniently being recharacterized as such during the Civil Rights Movement. But we'll put a pin in that. Regardless, a growing sentiment permeated black communities. These Asian immigrants were leeching off of black neighborhoods, taking jobs and opportunities away from prospective black business owners and only using them for their own gain. The narrative was that these immigrants received federal loans that weren't afforded to black Americans and essentially invaded these lower income neighborhoods without uplifting the communities they set up shop in. The notion that they received special loans has been disputed, so I'll put more info in the description. But either way, the perception stuck, and it came as a slap in the face to many black Americans who time and again witnessed the US government limit their ability to prosper economically.
So you have Asian immigrants that come, they don't understand that there's a historical, the resources that initiate some of these Asian businesses in black communities have never been made available to black people. And so when they see that, there's a resentment that builds up. And there's like, we are sitting here in these communities struggling constantly, and the little money we have, we can only pay to people that own industries that don't look like us and that aren't investing back in our communities. They're sending it to their communities, which makes some sense, but also feels like pretty exploitative. On the flip side, they're like, yo, you know what I just went through leaving Vietnam, leaving South Korea, leaving Laos, leaving etc. Like, I just left a dictator. I just left a genocide in Thailand or the Philippines. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not trying to hear your shit. I'm trying to save a whole other community of people. I ain't worried about you right now, and y'all are acting ridiculous in my store, so we gonna have a problem.
Speaking of this, there was a common feeling among black patrons that they were being treated unfavorably by Asian store owners. It was a tension felt throughout the country, reflected in films and songs alike.
So don't follow me up and down your market, or your little chop suey ass will be a target.
Hurry up and buy!
20, 20.
Honey?
What the go?
I'm no punk bitch! I ain't no punk bitch neither! I'm no punk bitch! Knock that head off.
In response to this, several black communities picketed and boycotted these stores. A Washington Post article from 1990 describes protesters in New York shouting, quote, "Fortune cookies say, no money today," and bloodsuckers. The article notes how confrontations between blacks and Koreans have flared since the early 1980s in other Brooklyn neighborhoods, in Harlem, in Queens, and in Atlanta, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. You may have noticed these stories are often about Korean Americans rather than Asian Americans as a whole. But to be honest, we're all usually lumped under the same umbrella either way. The term Asian American was coined in the 60s by Asian grad students at UC Berkeley, and it gradually replaced the word Oriental, a term loaded with racist connotations. The broad phrase Asian American eventually encompassed dozens of varied cultures and identities in East, Southeast, and South Asia. But regardless of how different or similar each nationality was, Asians were almost always viewed and treated as one and the same in the US. Like when Japanese Americans were being forced into internment camps during World War II, other Asian Americans wore buttons displaying their nationalities to avoid being detained or attacked. And even in the Brooklyn boycott I mentioned earlier, there were reports of Vietnamese men being attacked because they were mistaken for Korean people. Yen Le Espiritu, professor of Asian American Studies at UC San Diego, put it simply: all that mattered was that you looked Asian. Tensions simmered throughout the decades, and by the early 90s, the friction between black and Asian Americans reached a boiling point when 15-year-old Latasha Harlins was shot and killed by a Korean store owner in LA. The store owner was given a slap on the wrist, which, along with the continued police brutality evidenced by the Rodney King tape, led to the LA riots in 1992. Hundreds of shops were looted, vandalized, and destroyed, more than half of which were Korean owned.
So, we have a police here, we are safe, but as soon as the gun fighting started, they ran away. Bye.
I mean, can people realize what they're doing is wrong? This is not the way to overcome racism.
It was a dark moment in American history that told the world the relationship between Asian and Black Americans was solely defined by distrust and animosity. So yeah, 6 years later, this movie came out.
The fastest hands in the East. Meet the biggest mouth in the West.
The film purposefully plays into this racial divide, and it translates immediately during Lee and Carter's not-so-friendly meeting. Yet, they eventually become the best of friends. Naturally, this plays into the buddy trope, where the two leads start out disliking each other before forming a bond. It's a very Hollywood story arc that wraps everything in a perfect bow. Two people from opposite sides of the track figure out they aren't so different after all. The end. Kumbaya. Why can't we all get along? Sadly, it didn't exactly reflect reality, or even lead to a substantial difference in how characters could be paired in the future. For instance, in Romeo Must Die, the 2000 action movie starring Jet Li and Aaliyah, they were meant to kiss towards the end, but it didn't test well with audiences. Interestingly, black audiences were the main group that didn't approve of it. This could have a multitude of explanations that may not necessarily be anti-Asian, but still, it was another example of the two communities having clear lines drawn about how close they wanted to be. Even today, it's a touchy subject. For example, the discussion surrounding the rise of Asian hate crimes in America starting in 2020. Viral videos showed elderly Asian Americans being attacked in broad daylight, seemingly always at the hands of a black person, fueling the theory that animosity is the defining trait of this inter-minority relationship. I bring this up not to say both sides are equally at fault, or look how bad one side is, or anything like that, but to ask, why is it that we only consider these kinds of stories to be reflective of the truth? Don't get me wrong, I wish I could tell you all these tensions were a thing of the past or simply media fabrications, but there is animosity between these communities. A lot of Asian Americans do hold negative assumptions about Black Americans, and there's plenty of Asians who fully believe in the model minority label and see the struggle of other communities as being self-inflicted. On the flip side, from what I've read, plenty of Black Americans are indifferent to the issues of Asian Americans, and may even hold resentments about the rapid ascension of Asian immigrants up the social and economic ladder. So I'm not going to pretend like these stereotypes are totally untrue, but I can tell you it's not the whole truth. The only thing we ever hear about is just how, for example, during COVID, how Asian people are only being attacked by Black people. Like, Black people are doing all of it or 90% of it, and that's just not even true. It's just not true. But that's what we see, and that's the whole narrative, and then everyone buys into it. Through a little research, I continually found that the rise of Asian hate crimes wasn't carried out mostly by Black Americans.
It's always white people.
The culprits of these attacks were most often white people.
Oh.
We're often fed narratives that only sow more needless division between our communities, and for the most part, we believe it. To get a better understanding of this, I read Civility in the City by Professor Jennifer Lee. In it, she studied the dynamics of Asian-owned stores in Black neighborhoods. Through her research, she found that the vast majority of interactions were ordinary and went off without a hitch, because, of course they do. By the end of her research, she concluded, while media images highlight racial warfare, I find that most merchant-customer interactions are positive and civil. I discovered that civility prevails in everyday life, because merchants and their employees actively work to preserve it. Jewish and Korean merchants hire Black employees, place women at the front end of the business, and give in to customer demands to keep the business routine in place. By making these investments, merchants actively work to minimize altercations with customers and racially charged anger. Furthermore, the fact that the vast majority of merchant-customer interactions are free of conflict demonstrates that these interactions in themselves are not the source of hostility that leads to boycotts, violence, and riots. In the few instances where she did witness moments of conflict, they were often coded with racial hostility, even when race may have not been related to the issue at hand. Lee goes in depth about this, examining how these, quote, stock stories load simple economic arguments with racial symbolism, turning a disagreement about how much something costs into racialized conflict. It speaks to the internalization of this narrative in Black and Asian Americans. Even though our everyday life may not show many signs of racial hostility for the most part, our collective understanding of the social climate makes us contextualize each interaction as being yet another instance of this type of friction. In other words, no matter how many civil, normal, and even friendly interactions we see, the rare moments of hostility continue to act as confirmation of the narrative of conflict, is what blows up in the discourse and what gets picked up for coverage in mainstream media. We hear endlessly about violence, but not about how Vietnamese immigrants were able to carve out a niche in nail salons, thanks in large part to the collaboration between a Vietnamese woman and a Black woman in LA. No disrespect to Tippi Hedren. Or how Black and Japanese activists came together to fight for the fair housing for their community's residents in Little Tokyo, who were being displaced by commercial just a couple of examples, but you get it. Clearly, there's more going on to this relationship than we tend to hear about.
It was like a Black and Japanese American neighborhood because of redlining. The Japanese American businesses were actually protected by African Americans.
That's why it's important to understand how and why these communities are so often pitted against each other. For instance, let's go back to that pin we left about the model minority. It was a term that conveniently arose during the Civil Rights Movement. Many believe this was done purposefully to divide these communities, propping up Asian Americans as the good ones.
The good ones. You're one of the good ones.
Model minority was coined by one such article from 1966. But this article, and others like it, didn't just cast Asian Americans as an obedient and respectful model minority. They also criticized so-called problem minorities, primarily Black Americans.
Asians who immigrated to the US and found success often bought into this characterization, not realizing this compliment was just a way to create a wedge between minority communities. At the same time, it caused other minority groups to feel resentful towards Asian Americans. We continue to see this as affirmative action has been used to create yet another point of contention, using Asian Americans as pawns to further the advantages of white college applicants.
I needed plaintiffs. I needed Asian plaintiffs.
There's a very purposeful misunderstanding of white supremacy that is always prominent in our media and conversations around race. They think white supremacy is about white people hating people of color.
No, they just want to be empowered.
Hating Asians. That's not what white supremacy is. White supremacy is a structural design to maintain a hierarchy where white people are on top. That is the gist of it. It happens without their consent, without their knowledge. That it purposely happens without their knowledge because if they had to, most white people, if they had to directly engage with how the system is working for them and against other people, they wouldn't want to participate in it. That's what we're really talking about. And this is not a blame white people thing. This is a blame white supremacy thing. And until we are proactive in deconstructing and dismantling white supremacy, we're always going to have those conflicts in community and in between communities.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Because we're all jockeying for positions to survive a system that doesn't really care if we survive or not.
This is something that's low-key reflected in Rush Hour, I swear. Just hear me out. For all the cliches the series happily showcases, Rush Hour also surprises you every once in a while. Like in the first movie, we're told the big bad guy is Juntao, who we're led to believe is this guy. Here, the film definitely leans into tropes of Yellow Peril, as he represents an attack on the civility of the West via his East drug gang. It's something present throughout the franchise, as we get nameless, triad-adjacent Asian gangsters in each installment. But by the end of the first film, we learn it was actually a rich white guy puppeteering everything behind the scenes.
Every big crime has a rich white man behind it waiting for his cut.
This same reveal happens again in Rush Hour 3. Again, these were movies written by white guys. I keep mentioning who wrote the movies because they don't really toe the line between being funny and offensive that gracefully, which seems at odds with the fact that the film is generally remembered fondly by Black and Asian Americans.
Because it's not for white people. Think about it for a second. Everybody still likes it. So much of the woke discourse is poisoned by the overwhelming of progressive.
Yo, this movie slaps. The movie fucking slaps.
So invested in proving their inherent goodness, even if they're white. They're so invested in that.
Look how much better I am than you guys.
They will take shit that we are really not concerned about and elevate to the highest levels of conflict-driven media discussions and ruin it for everybody so that they can kind of prove that they're good. You know what I'm saying? But because it's a movie for black folks that Asians also like, because it's a movie that is not really for white people, a hood classic, they don't even know. They haven't bothered to discover it. And that's kind of why I think people don't care, is because we don't need, generally speaking, if it's just our shit, we already know. We already know there's conflict between black folks and Asian communities. We already know that's a problem. We already know the conflict. We know that joke shouldn't exist, even then, right? But we also know that the battle isn't against that joke. It's against the structures that gives birth to that joke. It's the fact that we have a
It's the shit that perpetuates it.
that had access to make the movies about black and Asian experiences, and that black and Asian creatives still to this day struggle to get their projects made. That's the real conflict area. So we're not even gonna bother. We're more focused on the real shit. That's my theory.
I think there's something to this. The franchise featured plenty of moments with a white gaze about black and Asian people, but somewhere along the way, it tapped into the brotherhood that develops when people are in close proximity to each other for a long time. Knowing all of this, it becomes clearer why so many black and Asian people still find Rush Hour enjoyable. For once, despite the world pitting us against each other, we get to see Asian and black characters come together to form a legitimate camaraderie. And in Rush Hour, this camaraderie is forged through the sharing of cultures. Time and again, we see Lee and Carter absorb a bit of the other's cultural tendencies.
Kinda good. Need a little hot sauce, but it's kinda good though. Seems like yesterday we used to rock the show. I can't leave you, Lee. You on your ponyo. Can't leave my brother.
There's an awkwardness to how they go about it, and it stems from the fact that in each film, at least one
See, the joke still.
Follow my lead and do what I do. What's up, man?
What's up, man? What did you just say?
In the first is Lee in America, and the second is Carter in China, and the third is both of them in France. Because of this, over the course of the franchise, the characters assume different roles in these new locations, and gain a better understanding of each other. While I wouldn't say this was a feat of writing genius, the franchise slowly began to subvert some of the racial assumptions it was leaning on. Lee and Carter first formed their bond through music, specifically in the iconic war scene. Over time, they rub off on each other and take a little bit of the other's personality and taste.
Beach Boys is dope. I love Beach Boys.
I mention this because it's very reminiscent in how Black and Asian communities have rubbed off on each other, exchanging and sharing aspects of each identity. We see this in things like sneaker collecting and hip-hop dance crews. And this happens inversely too, with the popularity of martial arts films and anime in the Black community, as well as the incorporation of Asian aesthetics throughout the course of hip-hop history. From the Wu-Tang Clan, Nicki Minaj, and Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick actually got his Kung Fu Kenny moniker from Don Cheadle's character in Rush Hour 2. I think Kung Fu Kenny is an interesting, if not over-the-top example of this cultural melting pot effect. At first glance, this character seems like he's just someone exploiting Chinese culture for profit.
Kenny, you embarrassing yourself. You're a black man with a Chinese restaurant on Crenshaw.
And I get that the joke is basically, look how ridiculous this black guy looks doing all this Chinese stuff. But we find out he's learned the language, started a family with a Chinese wife, and even studied martial arts under a Chinese master. On the surface, it could be considered cultural appropriation. But I think the key that separates this from appropriation is a willing cultural exchange and a genuine appreciation for what's being shared.
So there's this conflict, but the movie was like, fuck all of that. Let's just have fun, right? This dude's funny. This dude does awesome stunts. Let's just party, because that is also quite possible between these communities. The conflicts are far too complex for me to like try to unpack in this interview, but they exist, and at the same time, fun exists. And I think that's one thing that we often struggle with when we're talking about like social issues, and then like using social issues to analyze and deconstruct media, is that the issue isn't 100% of the story. Two things can be true at once. And just because we observe a problem in these venues, it doesn't mean that these virtues can't exist in the same spot.
And contrary to what we've been led to believe, it's an experience much more common than conflict, something Professor Lee witnessed herself, writing, "Having spent a great deal of time in neighborhoods like Harlem and West Philadelphia, I've witnessed far more prosaic and even humanizing encounters than conflicts between merchants and customers. For example, one Korean owner of a clothing store in Harlem is known by her black employees and even some of her customers as Umma, which accurately describes her maternal nature. Encounters like this, often overlooked by the media in favor of headlines that portray racial warfare, also make up the fabric of commercial life in black communities. Amid the warmth of some relationships and the antagonism of others, most merchants and customers agree that it's just business as usual, forging a commercial culture of reciprocity and respect. As it often happens, the truth is far more boring and complex than popular sensationalizations would have us believe. These communities have a long history together, filled with nuances that encapsulate everything from great solidarity to great animosity. It's neither this ongoing race war, nor is it a perfect relationship. There's a time and space to acknowledge these issues, and Rush Hour's humor doesn't come without its drawbacks. But sometimes, it's just nice to laugh at the absurdity of it all. It's so racist, but I don't know why I still enjoy it, even though like 90% of it is racist against Asian people, but I still enjoy it. It's like a weird dynamic.
It exists in a pocket where racism doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's obviously problematic, right? That's obviously problematic, yada, 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 all the disclaimers. But also, man, it's nice to exist there sometimes.
You know, and that's how we felt on the set. We were so comfortable around each other, because Jackie would mess up, I would mess up.
He cannot speak English.
And we was like both outsiders from Hollywood, you know.
Yeah. Maybe Rush Hour didn't age well with some of its portrayals of race and masculinity, but somehow, at the core of this dumb action comedy franchise, it reflected the kinship that can form between outsiders of dominant culture. For just a few hours, we don't have to forget about the ongoing problems, but we can watch black and Asian characters having fun and working together in spite of the wedges that aim to drive us apart. Hey, thanks for watching. I made this video.
Fire.
Nice call, Dallas. I have ace high. You've got the 5, don't you? That I do. Trips, baby. Ship it.
Dallas Mugs, Gary wins.
No, Georgia, I won. I had a 5.
You need to show both cards to win, Dallas.
I didn't need 2 cards. 1 was enough.
To win any part of a pot at Showdown, a player must show all of their cards face up on the table. Wikipedia.
Oh, that's dumb. I obviously had the winning hand.
Do I really have to call Norman the Floorman?
Floor.
Damn it, Norman!
What? All in. Call. Nice call.
I heard that you're not a huge, I mean, the Rush Hour films were hugely successful, but you're not the biggest fan of those movies.
Because on the set, I don't understand. This speaks the English so fast. I just, okay, let Jackie say that. I said, what? Let him say it. I said, what? Then after I say it, everybody laughing. I still don't understand what it means. I want to do so many actions. No, less action. I said, no, I want to do this. No. Enough, Will. Enough time. You have to go home, sleep. 8 hours. I said, no, I want to work more. No, union work. Yeah. Union rule. I said,
Union
okay.
rule, yeah. Don't mess with those guys.
You
It's funny, you know, I heard that you're...
Is there actually a Rush Hour 4? Holy shit.
Holy crap! Is this the best chicken sandwich ever? Got it at a place called Le Coupe.
Also got some other items. Let's try them out.
First, we're gonna try the mac and cheese. Looks promising. Here we go. The pasta is a little undercooked. The cheese they use is decent, but nothing special.
And the breadcrumbs are ground up too small. It's like chewing sand.
Now we're gonna try these corn ribs. Basically, took corn on a cob and cut it into 4s. Very limey with a sprinkle of cheese. Almost like eating elote with chipotle mayo. And now time for the chicken sandwich.
Mmm. Great crunch from the batter, and the honey makes it very sweet.
Slaw and pickles give nice acidity. Kind of reminds me of the orange chicken sandwich from Panda, but way better. Holy crap.
Do you ever wish Cutie would just shut up about Taylor Swift?
Oh my. Feels like an abrupt start. Oh my god, she's so annoying.
I know. Can you believe? Like, would she just shut up about Taylor Swift?
No, she won't.
She won't. Do you wish she would? Okay.
You know what? No, because
Okay,
you
fair.
know what?
I don't either.
No, because we're not fake, and
Yeah.
we support our friends' interests, and that's what
Yeah.
makes her happy. So that's
No.
what makes me happy.
That was a trap. Cutie and I set that up.
Oh, okay.
And you passed.
Right. Yeah.
We
of
didn't.
course.
Nice job. That was.
Are you being serious? Can you talk to her about that?
No. That would be. It's crazy that you think that I could have done that.
Yeah.
though.
Austin switched up so quick. He switched up so quick there. That filthy little liar, dude.
But it's so funny when I watch DMM clips, I see like 50 people running around. But every time you go to Edgeville, it's like a tumbleweed flying around. It's funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they be avoiding, bro. They fear me because the Trinket Avenge is also in the NHing now. So they're scared to get antied by me. Of course, he got his first freeze and I splashed on Mystic, while he literally has Mystic top, bottom. Like, it's just so cringe. Well, it's just so fucking cringe, man. Like, it's just so cringe. Like how? Like, suck my balls, bro. Like, well, genuinely just suck my fucking nuts. He said, you really just cleared Edgeville in a second. Were more people here? No way they all tabbed as soon as I was trying to log in. Yeah. Wallah, I'm not surprised. Don't. Of course, I splashed 3 times and he just escapes. Nice. I'm getting off this fucking world. If somebody wants to sit here and scout for me and tell me when like a maxer is an edge bank, please tell me. But it looks like they TP anyways as soon as I log on. So if anybody wants to like, you know, tell me when there's a maxer at edge bank and if somebody has like a scout here or maybe is like playing DMM, let me know, bro. Otherwise, I'm getting out of here, bro, because this shit's dead. You know what I realized? I'm not just saying this and I'm not just gassing myself up. But no matter what bracket I log into, if it's main or pure, it instantly goes dead as soon as I log on to it. It literally instantly goes dead. Like, it's like Toy Story, like, Andy's coming! And then they just, like, instantly just go. They just leave.
Andy's coming, everybody! Back to your places, hurry!
Allahu Akbar, Allah. Like, I guess the word just spreads fast, like, Autoblock logged on, Autoblock logged on, get out of there. That's the way I see it. Oh, this was Greg's last death. Let me see. Why did Greg F up here? Does anybody know? Why did Greg F up here? I want to see what was his excuse though.
Wow. Died through a triple. I didn't even triple. I died for protect melee. That's what I died to.
You know what? He doesn't analyze if it's his pit or not. If he knew that it was not his pit, he would have never died there. Because that his Karasi would have went off and killed the guy. And it would have been a nice ante. But he's a dumbass mother rucker that stinks like Zissy water, and he just doesn't know how to PK. That's why. He just needs to know if it's his pit or not. If he had pit there, he would have killed him.
It has been a little bit since the last video, and I apologize. I was kind of in a rut, but I'm back, ready to conquer the medium tier, and it immediately forced me.
Bro, I always get him mixed up with the guy who does the gambling, or the gambling account. Really short stream. Probably gonna watch like a 15-minute video and then go head to bed. Wake up for this, take a nap before this clan event in 3 hours. Might be streaming that. Probably just gonna record a video for it, or just record to analyze. Gotta watch a Mango video.
See that, Mon? I thought when you watch Spacey Jam, which I assume you will one day, Mon. Had some talks. I think today was a really good Spacey Jam. We actually covered a lot. Also, I'm gonna say it. LeBron's not actually hurt. He's just faking it. And honestly, I respect that. The NBA is like literally the thing is. So NBA is my newest sport I got into. I grew up on baseball. I grew up on football. I didn't really like basketball. And coming from football and baseball to NBA is so funny. NBA is just a fucking soap opera with basketball in between. The shit they discuss, the shit they care about is like so funny. It's literally a soap opera with basketball in there somewhere. It's so crazy to me. Like, basketball culture is so funny. It's like, that's what old Melee used to be like. Melee's not like that anymore. Melee's like baseball now. We're just boring and we play 162 games a year, and you guys only care about 5 of them. Assuming Mango makes a run. Otherwise, you're turning GB off.
Yeah, kind of true.
Ooh! Owned. Melee would care about super majors? No. Melee culture is caring about year-long ranking, which is fucking stupid. To me, the most winning super major winner of all time, I do think super majors are the most important tournaments to win. They're always the most stacked. Everybody's there. Makes sense to me. Never forget 2018. I was the butt of every joke in 2018 because I didn't win one tournament. Juan just didn't win for 3 years straight. Didn't get, but he made top 8 every time. Motherfucker. So if Jason Tatum has the worst PR of all time, I realize H-Fox has the best PR team of all time. He actually has the GOAT PR team. The crazy thing is, even when Juan, like, if me and Juan interact with each other on Twitter, and he says something, there'll just be like 20 comments of profile little pictures under. I'm like, these motherfuckers roll deep. When I comment something under something, it's like one of you guys. Nobody ever has my back on Twitter. You guys are just getting high. You like the tweet? That's what they all do. That doesn't move the chain. Replies do it. Retweets. Can I get a retweet at least, please? Oh. Uh-oh. I don't know what I was doing. I can't lie to you. Oh, Falco. If you're a Falco player, you love when you get those. It's one of the few true freebies we get. It's such a freebie. You just push forward B and they died. When it happens, when I'm playing like Fox and it happens to me, I'm so fucking annoyed. I'm like, this feels awful. Yes, Mango, stop being lazy. See, I just gotta talk to Kalindi sometimes. I realize Kalindi's just my melee therapist. I just gotta say things to him. Because I hate talking to most melee players. Because most melee players are the most closed-minded people you ever meet. I've been a real bad girl. Who saw that? Only Mon will appreciate that. Fuck. Oh, I'm back. Spotify, you guys don't know, the Mango Joey on a Tuesday podcast is now on Spotify. And we'll be on Spotify for the rest of the time. So we do YouTube and Patreon episodes, and both are there, but Patreon ones are locked. It's really easy to connect if you do sub to the Patreon. If not, the YouTube ones are there. YouTube ones are, well, pretty much the way we do the podcast is the YouTube episode's more like the normie mainstream episode. We just talk about like Melee and rankings or whatever, tournaments. And then the Patreon's more like me and Joe are just dumbasses. Your name's Bromance. You can't say, you know, you say whatever you want. The Eagles have made me cry more than any girl has ever made me cry. It's not even close. Lakers down 21? Well, Kalindi, we're not watching the fourth. Logos, I'm going to tell you something that you figure out when you reach level 1000 in Melee. The whole game is just baiting out grabs. I just saved you 20,000 hours of Melee. You're welcome. That's the whole fucking game. As a spacey. We got a lot of Melee on Friday. Fine. What's Friday? Is it teams? What if I did teams? Where's Plup? Is Plup going? Fuck it, I just start teaming with Juan. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Alright, Dalton, you're forgiven. I just wanted 1. I'll take 5. Am I live? Fuck yeah. Wait, there's 3 Haikyuu movies coming out? I'm so excited. Also, Mango SoCal fans, once I'm done with watching Haikyuu, all the seasons, I'm going to rent out the theater nearest me, and I'm going to watch Haikyuu the movie. Every sub is invited. But you have to watch Haikyuu. So I'm going to ask you some trivia before you come in. And if you miss it, you're done. Every time they score a point, we take a shot. Trade? Oh. Cuphead's kind of hard. I see what kind of son you're going to raise. A weakling. I'm sure. Actually, I'm sure your son's going to be lovely and very talented. Bye, Dalton. Make him play Melee? Don't make him play Melee. That's fucked up. Look at me, Joey, Gio, as people. Do you want your son to be anything like us? The answer's no. Who's calling your phone? Is it Gio? Is it Mango? Is it J-Bone? That's the remix, Woogie, just so you know. This work? Oh, could've. Look at me grab. Am I Zane? But way cooler.
I love Ango.
Here's the problem. This is my sister's current monitor, and it does not go well with the new setup I built her. This monitor? Let go of it. Let go of it. So I walked through Walmart looking for a cheap one, and I found an absolute gem that nobody is talking about. I mean, the price is insane for the amount of value you're getting. But look, before you go ahead and clear out the shelves, I bought it so you don't have to, and I'm going to show you exactly what this thing looks like. 165 hertz, 1 millisecond response time, and dude, 24 inches for $80, that's a freaking steal. But we're going to open it up. This looks so much better. And there she is. Here's the problem. This is my sister's current monitor, and it does not go well with.
Good shit, Nightbot. Alright. I'm gonna call it here. Nobody watching. Just getting the monitors up. Bye, y'all.